The Snow Queen, a Fairy Tale. Once upon a time, in a bustling town, there lived two children, Kay and Gerda, who were the best of friends. They lived in neighboring houses with windows so close they could speak to each other across the narrow alley. They shared everything, laughter, games, and a beautiful rooftop garden where roses bloomed all summer long. Their friendship was pure and innocent, a bond forged in love and trust. One winter, a sinister event changed everything. Far away in a frozen palace, the Snow Queen, a ruler of ice and frost, plotted to spread her cold dominion over the warm hearts of the world. She possessed a magical mirror created by a wicked troll. This mirror distorted everything it reflected, making the good appear evil and the beautiful seem ugly. One day, the mirror shattered into countless pieces, and the shards flew across the world, embedding themselves in people's eyes and hearts, turning them cold and cruel. Unfortunately, a shard of this cursed mirror struck Kay. From that moment, his heart turned to ice, and his view of the world became dark and twisted. He no longer found joy in Gerda's company or the beauty of their garden. One day, while sledding in the snow, Kay encountered a magnificent sleigh driven by a woman cloaked in icy splendor. She was the Snow Queen. With a kiss, she erased all his memories of home and Gerda, and whisked him away to her distant, frosty palace. Gerda's heart broke when she discovered Kay was missing. She searched everywhere but found no trace of her dearest friend. The townsfolk began to lose hope, but Gerda refused to give up. Gathering her courage, she decided to venture out into the wide world to find him, no matter the dangers. Her journey began by the river. Gerda spoke to the water, asking if it had seen Kay. Moved by her pure heart, the river carried her downstream to an old woman's cottage. This woman was a kind but lonely sorceress who, enchanted by Gerda's beauty, tried to keep her as her own child. She cast a spell to make Gerda forget her mission and enchanted her rose garden to bloom perpetually. However, one day, Gerda spotted a rose and remembered her friend. The spell broke, and she fled the cottage, determined to find Kay. Along the way, Gerda encountered a series of helpers. First, a raven who told her of a prince that resembled Kay. Though it turned out not to be him, the prince and princess of the castle where the raven led her gave Gerda warm clothes and a golden carriage for her journey. While traveling through a dark forest, Gerda was captured by robbers. The fierce robber girl who claimed her as a friend decided to help her after hearing her story. She gifted Gerda her reindeer, Bay, who knew the way to the Snow Queen's palace. The journey grew harsher as Gerda traveled north. Snowstorms whipped around her, and the icy winds seemed to mock her resolve. Yet she pressed on. Finally, she reached the palace of the Snow Queen, a fortress of shimmering ice and unearthly beauty. Gerda's love for Kay burned like a fire within her, protecting her from the freezing cold. Inside the palace, Kay sat motionless, trying to piece together a puzzle of ice that would spell the word eternity. The Snow Queen had promised him freedom if he solved it, but the icy shard in his heart made it impossible. Gerda rushed to him and embraced him, her tears falling on his chest. The warmth of her love melted the ice in his heart, and the shard dissolved. He looked at Gerda, and his memories came flooding back. Together, they wept with joy. Their tears melted the icy puzzle, forming the word eternity. The Snow Queen's power was broken, and her palace began to crumble. Kay and Gerda fled, with Bay guiding them back to the safety of their home. When they returned, spring had arrived, and their rooftop garden was in full bloom. Though they had grown older, their hearts remained young and pure, strengthened by the trials they had endured. Their bond of friendship and love was unbreakable, a testament to the power of goodness and hope. And so, they lived happily ever after, cherishing the lessons of their adventure and the warmth of each other's hearts.